Hey family. Becoming your best self isn't as difficult as it seems, but without direction, it is intimidating. So I'm going to give you 3 steps to becoming your highest self. It's really all you got to do. So I'm a life coach and I work every day to be my highest self. And that doesn't mean that I don't also work to accept who I am in the present. I think that's very important. I think a lot of the self-help gurus, specifically the David Goggins type, talk about having to hate where you are to get to where you want to be. And I fully disagree with that. I think it's about developing the love for yourself so that you want to take yourself further to more beautiful places and emotions and state of being in general. So firstly, it might be intimidating at first because we live in a world of beautiful distractions and we haven't spent a lot of time with ourselves, our true selves. We're always distracted, doing something, and filling our time with outside activities. So I'm not going to make you meditate, but taking silent time to journal, to just listen to your thoughts, non-judgmental, just getting to know your patterns, very important. And watch your triggers in your everyday life. Think about who you are when nobody's watching and how that differs from the you that you put on front stage when you're interacting with people. All of these things are going to contribute to, first of all, the more you know yourself, the more you can love yourself and accept yourself. And that comes with when you have these thoughts and you have these observations, you're gentle with yourself and you know that you're working on your growing. And where you are right now is irrelevant to where you're going to be, except for the fact that you're going to have a great comparison of how you used to react to things and how you used to feel in certain situations, and now you're just a calm buck. I don't know. So, yes, get quiet, listen to your thoughts, see that it's not as scary as you think it is to just take some time alone in your head. I think a lot of people imagine there being traumas coming up and all of that stuff, but the more you, in the beginning, make yourself sit there with yourself, you see that it's not scary and that you can handle anything and they're just thoughts and that you're in control of those thoughts. Remember that a lot of people think that their thoughts are themselves, but in truth, your thoughts are just a reflection of your life thus far and all of the inputs that you have received from the people around you and society and media and all of those things. So when you're in this stage of watching your thoughts, also ask yourself, when I think of the highest version of myself that's true to my heart and true to my desires, and when I'm 84 on my deathbed, what are the things that I wish that I did, that I'm glad that I did, that I wish that I didn't do, or that I did more of? And you look at those things, and then you get to step 2, which is define your core values. So, of course, you don't have to know where you're going in life. You don't have to know what you want to do with your life, even if you're older than the norm would be. Okay? It doesn't matter your age. It doesn't matter your stage of life. It matters that you have a direction to go in. And it doesn't have to be your career or your status or any of those things. In fact, it just has to be your values. So when you are old and crotchety, and you've learned so much by then, and you've experienced so much, and you finally see that really everything does work out as it should, and you have this overarching perspective, and you know yourself and you trust yourself. And you're laying there and your great nephew, who you're weirdly close with, but not weirdly, but like, no. Your nephew, your great nephew, I don't know why I chose him. He asks you, do you have any regrets? And you look him dead in the eye and you say, not a one. And that's because before I decided to consciously live in a way that was in accordance to my values, all of the things that I learned were what I was meant to learn in order to get to the place where I chose to live by my values. And all of those mistakes and all of those experiences, whether they be negative or not, I choose to define them as positive because I'm where I am today. And everything was built on those experiences. So, no, grandnephew, I don't have any regrets. Because I chose in every decision I made to go in the direction of my predefined values. So, of course, getting to know yourself is very important before you get to this second step. Your values can be outward success, and I don't recommend that because I think that a lot of people, when they reach their highest selves, they regret spending so much time on their career or their image when they could have been spending time with family or enjoying their daily life. And not to be said that you can't enjoy your daily life when you're on the grind, just that usually they're mutually exclusive in those who aren't aware and mindful. So choose 1 to 3 core values: honesty, loyalty, growth, family, peace, health, integrity, adventure. Okay? And then it suddenly gets so much easier. You can pick up to 5. But I think that kind of like might divert your choices a little bit, and you'd have to pick one over the other and have a hierarchy of sorts. But say you picked 1, and for me, I would say my top 1 is to leave a positive mark on this world and to help as many people as possible live happier and healthier lives before I grow. So, grandnephew. So you can have that core value, and even if it's just integrity, you can make your decisions in that direction no matter what, because you're going to be faced with decisions that would be maybe self-serving or would be serving others. Let these values be your North Star when it comes to these decisions, small and big. When you're sitting on the couch, instead of going for a walk, you can ask yourself, is this contributing to my value of health? Is this contributing to my value of connecting with nature? And when you're in the snack cabinet and you really want those cheese doodles, understandably so, you can ask yourself, does this align with my value of, once again, health? Or that balance, of course, we can have moderation. And we'll talk about that in another video. But, so you're making those decisions on those values. That is number 3. So you're visualizing your ideal future self, how they live, how they think, what they do, how they interact with others, how they talk to themselves, how they spread their love and their light. And when you're faced with that choice, given those values, you ask yourself, what would that version of me do? So use your future self as a compass, and every decision is a vote in the right direction, north in our metaphor here. And of course, you can go east, west, or south and still be continuing your journey north. It's not exactly a linear or straight path through this, and you might redefine your values along the way, but you won't have any regrets as long as you're living by said values. And along the same vein, it's as long as you know that you're living each day trying to be better than you were the day before, and that's my slogan, better every day, you can choose to be proud of yourself. Even if it's at the end of the night and you ask yourself, what did I do better today? And it's simply that you got up on time, or didn't yell at your significant other like you normally would, or took an extra minute to brush your cat. Like, you're doing great. And you're making an effort, and that's more than a lot of people can say. And so having that gentleness with yourself on this journey is only going to make you have an easier time with that self-love and the enjoyment of the journey, because yeah, you'll get to that place. You absolutely will. But the journey, for instance, my journey to get to the place that I am now, is the reason why I'm able to help people going through the same things. It's the reason why I have the perspective that I do, and the wisdom to help others take a different and more healthy, happy path. And that means so much to me. So, a little bit of a recap. If you want to become your highest self, and you want to live in accord with your future self, you're going to get to know yourself. You're going to pick your values, and you're going to make decisions based on those values, especially with regards to your future self. Because if you think about your now self and you're more connected to them than you are to your future self, of course, we live in the present and it's wonderful and it's amazing. But it's that reward system. Do I want this immediate reward of these Cheetos now? Or do I want to feel like that ideal version of myself that I imagine every day? And it becomes easier and easier as you go, because once you become or get closer to that higher version of yourself, you're like, yeah, why would I eat the Cheetos? I'm doing great. I'm proud of myself. And then you trust yourself to make these decisions, and everything just falls into a place of flow, because you know what you're doing, and you still have the same unknowns that you always had and that everybody has in this life, but you don't fear the unknown. In fact, you can be excited for it because you know that you can handle it. And for instance, I am still at the beginning of my career, and instead of, getting all tense and feeling like I want to be successful now, I'm like, yo, this is so exciting to see where I'm gonna go. Like, what am I gonna do? Younger me had no idea I would be here. Younger me was a wreck. She was so anxious that she would get up for school at 5 a.m. She would sleep in her uniform. She just couldn't sleep until she thought of every possible scenario that would happen the next day and went over it. And then she would be so worried that she wouldn't be able to sleep that she couldn't sleep. And just every day was kind of just a torturous anxiety ball. And it's amazing how different I am today and how peaceful. I'm so grateful, and I want that for you. So, comment below one or all of the values that you intend to live by, even just this year. You can change them yearly. That's a good one. And if you're committed to this journey and you're ready to get to know yourself and work toward your highest self with love, and of course, learning to love yourself makes it so much easier to love other people. and that's a whole nother video. But what you don't realize is the things that bother you about your neighbor, you do them too. And that's the reason why you're annoyed, because you know exactly what that pattern looks like. Silly us. But if you accept yourself, you accept your neighbor. Not in a biblical sense. That was just an example of somebody you interact with. Damn those leaf blowers. Anyways, I would love to help you along this journey. You would really like this video if you enjoyed this one. And stick around, kid, because the only way is up.